I woke up feeling good, but my tracker says I slept badly. So I guess I must have slept badly.
Well, this is exactly what we're talking about. So you need to flip that. If you woke up feeling genuinely rested and clear, your body may be the better instrument that morning.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're allowed to overrule the ring.
Right.
The ring doesn't control your life. The device does not know how you feel. It only knows how you moved.
Exactly. The surrogate marker problem. Okay, so let's start with the basics because almost nobody knows the answer. Lee, what's a ring actually doing all night long while you're sleeping? Or a watch for that matter. A ring or a watch. What are they doing?
So here's the honest, slightly funny truth. Your sleep tracker never actually sees you sleep, right? Think of it like a detective standing outside your bedroom door. It can't get in the room. But it can hear whether you're moving. It can feel your pulse through the door, and from those clues, it makes a very somewhat educated guess about what's happening inside.
So really, in science, we call that a surrogate marker. It's a marker that can give you clues, but it doesn't really, it can't really see that data itself. So what are the clues that it's collecting?
So a few signals: movement, from something called an accelerometer, basically how still you are. Your heart rate, the heart rate variability, is it going up, it's going down, tiny kind of beat-to-beat changes that reflect your nervous system, your skin temperature, and your breathing rate, how fast you're breathing, how rapidly you're breathing. That's kind of the raw material that it works with.
And then the magic step, right?
Right. Then an algorithm, something, kind of behind the door, kind of like the Wizard of Oz, so to speak. An algorithm takes all those signals and estimates, how low movement or low heart rate, steady breathing, I'll call that deep sleep. It's pattern matching. It's really genuinely clever, but notice what's missing.
Yeah, it's not reading your brain. It's not.
Right.
It doesn't know what's going on inside your coconut.
Exactly, and that's the whole ball game. The gold standard for measuring sleep is a test called polysomnography, which is a mouthful, a sleep study. And it directly records your brain waves, your eye movements, your muscle activity, your airflow, your oxygen. That's how you truly know what stage someone's in, what stage of sleep someone's in. Your ring is inferring all of that from your, inferring or implying? I guess it's inferring all of that from your wrist or your finger.
Right, so let's give people the vocabulary then, because the apps throw a lot of jargon at you. A quick decoder. I'll throw a term, you translate. Okay, ready? Sleep score.
So the sleep score is a single number the app invents by blending all your metrics into one grade. There's no universal official sleep score for these types of technologies. Every company makes up its own recipe. Now understand, there is a universal quote-unquote sleep score, the apnea-hypopnea index, for true sleep studies that are used by physicians.
Okay, next one. Readiness or recovery.
The apps guess at how recovered your body is. It's mostly driven by your heart rate and heart rate variability overnight. It's kind of a useful trend, but it certainly isn't gospel.
All right, so you mentioned it just there, HRV, or heart rate variability. What is that?
So it's the variation between heart rates, or heartbeats, I should say. Higher is generally a sign your rest and recover nervous system is in charge, but it's wildly individual. Never compare your HRV to your friends. Only compare it to really your own baseline. So you're kind of using it as a standard by which you assess how you're doing on each individual night.
So deep sleep and REM.
Two different stages. Deep sleep is the physically restorative one. Think reparative sleep. REM, or rapid eye movement, is the dream stage. Think memory, emotional processing. And here's the key. Estimating these two is exactly where the devices are the weakest. Understand that also rapid eye movement sleep is, since it's your dreaming sleep, it's when all your muscles relax so you don't act out your dreams.
And when the snoring is the worst.
Correct.
Okay, so what about sleep efficiency?
So that's the percentage of time in bed you actually spent asleep. It sounds precise. It's really not. It's an estimate. It's built on top of the other estimates. So you're estimating an estimation.
Yeah, I mean, you could just be sitting there scrolling, actually.
Exactly.
So the line to hold on to from this whole segment then?
So sleep trackers measure signals associated with sleep, indirect signals. They do not measure sleep itself. The detective is good. The detective is still standing outside the door.
Got it. Where we want them. Well, the detective, but not the sleep monitor. So let's talk accuracy honestly, right? Because people deserve numbers. How good is this detective that you're talking about?
Well, it's like anything. It depends on what you ask it. At the simple questions, are you asleep or awake? Modern devices are pretty good at that. I mean, they're frankly, they're kind of excellent at it. In validation studies, they catch sleep over 95% of the time.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. So where's the catch then? What's up with that?
So the catch is the opposite question. Are you awake? And that's my favorite kind of quirk in all of this. These devices are bad at noticing when you're lying in bed awake but not moving. Quiet wakefulness.
So scrolling.
Right. So if you're lying perfectly still, staring at the ceiling, stewing about an email, the tracker very often just scores that as sleep.
Yeah, so it tends to be a bit generous.
Actually, very generous. On average, these devices overestimate how much you slept, often by around half an hour. Now, that's a lot, because stillness looks like sleep to a motion sensor, which leads to the most absurd implication in the whole field. The way to win at sleep tracking is to lie awake without moving.
Which is the worst possible advice, right?
Yeah, the absolute worst. Nobody should do that. But it tells you exactly what the machine can and can't see.
So now the harder question is the sleep stages. So if it's pretty inaccurate about missing when someone's just lying there awake, how does it do with the stages, the 41 minutes of deep sleep that my patient is panicking about?
This is where you should hold the data quite loosely. Sorting your night into light, deep, and REM is much harder than just sleep versus wake, and accuracy there is only moderate. It's improving fast. The newer rings and watches with their 2024 algorithm updates are getting impressively close to a real sleep lab, on some measure anyway. But close on average across a big group is not the same as precise for your Tuesday night.
Right, and there's a great real-world tell for this, right? It's the two-device test.
Yes, and people do this on the internet constantly. Put two different trackers on the same person, same night. They'll frequently disagree about when you fell asleep, how much deep sleep you got, how many times you woke up. They can't get both right. So if your deep sleep number swings around night to night, a lot of that is the estimate wobbling, not your biology collapsing.
All right, so what should people actually take from a given night?
So, trends, not verdicts. One bad score rarely means anything. One great score doesn't guarantee you're recovered. Sleep is naturally variable. It moves with your alcohol, your stress, and illness coming on, travel, your hormones, the temperature of your room. A single night is a noisy data point.
So, all right, I mean, let's give people a rule of thumb for how much to zoom out.
Think in weeks and months, not nights.
That's fair.
Yeah. So researchers have found that even a full week of tracking can be off from your true average by up to 50 minutes in either direction. That's a lot. So one night, basically noise. The pattern over a month, now you're learning something real.
And the main line then?
Sleep trackers are most useful for spotting patterns, not for judging individual nights. And normal sleep is not perfect sleep. Everybody has rough nights. The tracker just makes you stare at them.
Okay, so let's make this useful. If you own one of these watches or rings, and a huge chunk of our audience I'm sure does, how should you actually use it? Because there's a smart way and sort of the self-torture way that we're talking about.
Correct. And the framing I love is this. Your tracker is not a report card. It's a science experiment with a sample size of one, you. The best use is testing what your habits do to your sleep, then changing the habit. Behavior change, not score chasing.
All right, so then give me the all-star use case.
Alcohol, for example. This is where these devices genuinely shine. Have 2 or 3 drinks, don't drive, and your tracker will light up. Your resting heart rate climbs overnight, your heart rate variability drops, your recovery score tanks, and this isn't woo. The research is really clean. Alcohol suppresses and delays your REM sleep, your rapid eye movement sleep, and keeps your nervous system in go mode for hours. One study found physiological recovery dropped by roughly a quarter after moderate drinking and close to 40% after heavy drinking. Basically, what it does is it puts you to sleep, but it doesn't help you stay asleep.
We've all been there, absolutely.
Right? It enhances the desire, inhibits the performance. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, we shoot and pull with a piece of rope. And the powerful part isn't the study; it's seeing it on your own body. We all kind of know this. I mean, I know in college I drank a lot more, and certainly in the Marine Corps I drank a lot more than I should have drank, and it definitely hampered performance while you were drunk and also the next day.
And really, that's the magic, especially as a physician, because I can tell a patient alcohol wrecks your sleep all day long till I'm blue in the face, and it bounces right off them. Your own ring showing them a red number after 2 glasses of wine, that changes behavior. And that's the device at its absolute best.
Hopefully it changes behavior. Not always, but hopefully it does. Certainly,
At least the
listen,
potential.
biofeedback helps, though. So what else is the genuinely useful column?
Schedule consistency. The tracker will quietly bust you for going to bed at 10 on weekdays and 2 a.m. on weekends, and your body hates that swing. Spotting the effect of a late caffeine, a late workout, a hot room, watching a recovery trend over a training block, and nudging you toward better habits in general. Sometimes just wearing it makes people protect their bedtime.
Yeah, so the whole thing about, actually what like the Hawthorne effect, observing something makes you do it better. And the disorder screening, which we'll dig into later.
Well, right, flagging possible symptoms of something like sleep apnea so you get properly checked. That's a great use, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Now, the other column that we talked about, the not useful or actively harmful ways to use it. What's messing us up with these things?
Obsessing over it, right?
Yeah.
People obsess over their daily score. Chasing a perfect night. It's like a high score in a video game. Endless biohacking, where you change 6 things at once and learn nothing. And the big one, making real medical decisions off of consumer-grade data. Not a good thing. Do not diagnose yourself off a wrist graph.
I can't tell you how many times people come in and argue with me over the results of their sleep study based on their ring.
100%.
So the main line?
The best use of a sleep tracker is behavioral change, not score optimization. Run experiments on yourself. Learn 1 or 2 real things. Then mostly stop looking.
Time for our vital message of the day, where we take a myth making the rounds and give you what the evidence actually says. Lee, sleep tracking has produced some great ones.
Yes. Myth number 1. My sleep score tells me how I'll feel tomorrow.
Reality, how rested you feel and what your device measures are often only loosely connected. They're connected, but it's loose. The research on this is striking, actually. I mean, objective sleep metrics explain only a small slice of how good your sleep actually feels to you. So a number on an app is a weak predictor of your real day.
And there's a really nasty trick hidden in that myth. It's called the nocebo effect. Tell someone they sleep badly, and they'll feel worse and perform worse, even if they actually slept well. Researchers have literally shown this. Fake "you slept poorly" feedback drags people down. The bad number can become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Wow, that's wild. Myth 2. My tracker says I only got 45 minutes of deep sleep. Something's wrong with me.
Well, here's the reality. Estimating deep sleep is one of the hardest things these devices do, and it's exactly where they're least reliable. Before you panic about a deep sleep number, remember, a real sleep lab wires up your scalp to measure that. Your ring is guessing it from your pulse.
Exactly. Myth 3. And this one's important. I woke up feeling good, but my tracker says I slept badly. So I guess I must have slept badly.
Well, this is exactly what we're talking about. So you need to flip that. If you woke up feeling genuinely rested and clear, your body may be the better instrument that morning.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're allowed to overrule the ring.
Right.
The ring doesn't control your life. The device does not know how you feel. It only knows how you moved.
Exactly. The surrogate marker problem. So myth 4, more data always leads to better health.
Reality, more data can absolutely backfire. For some people, more numbers means more hypervigilance, more anxiety, and we're about to get to this, worse sleep. Data is a tool. It's not a virtue. More of it isn't automatically better.
Myth 5, I need to optimize every single metric.
So the reality of that is sleep is a biological process, not a video game, as I said before. There's no boss level. You can't and should not try to max out every bar on the screen every night. Bodies don't work like that.
All right. Main line for the whole segment then.
The goal is better sleep, not a better sleep score. Those are not the same thing, and chasing the second one can cost you the first one.
Okay. I promised this up at the top. The thing where tracking your sleep makes your sleep worse. Lee, it has a real name.
It does. It's called orthosomnia. Sleep doctors actually coined it in a paper back in 2017. And the name's perfect. Ortho means correct or straight. Somnia means sleep. They modeled it on orthorexia. You know, when the obsession with eating perfectly healthy food becomes its own disorder.
So orthosomnia is then?
Well, it's the perfectionist quest for perfect sleep, driven by your tracker, that actually causes anxiety and insomnia. Real patients started showing up at sleep clinics not because they had a sleep problem, but because their app told them they did. This happens to me all the time in the office.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they'd see light, restless sleep on a graph, get anxious, start trying to force perfect sleep, lie in bed worrying about their score, and that anxiety is exactly what keeps you awake. Look, there is enough to cause us anxiety these days. We don't need a device on our finger causing more.
Right, so we're trying to help everybody, but we invented a sleep disorder by trying to optimize our sleep.
Yeah, that's the dark comedy of it. The pursuit of the perfect number became the problem. And here's the cruel mechanical irony we talked about earlier. The more anxious you are, the more you lie in bed awake but still. And the device often scores that stillness as sleep. So you can be lying there miserable, anxious, and the tracker says, great night. The instrument and your experience completely divergent.
Well, so, I mean, how do you spot orthosomnia in yourself? What are the tells? I mean, how do you know when you're in the middle of that kind of weird state?
So if you're checking your score before you even check how you feel, bad, okay? A bad number ruins a morning you'd otherwise have felt fine in. You feel anxious if you forget to wear the device, or you can't sleep without it. You're spending more energy managing the data than improving your behavior. If that's you, and be honest about it, the single healthiest intervention might be to take the thing off, at least for a couple of weeks.
And I mean, it's probably not lost on you. Notice the irony for a sleep tracker company, right? The best outcome is sometimes that you stop using the product. Uh-oh.
Which is exactly why you, the human, have to stay in charge of the device, not the other way around.
Right. So let's flip to the genuinely important side then, right? Because trackers can also catch real problems. When should your sleep data actually send you to a doctor? So you're wearing a watch or a ring, you're getting up, you're looking at trends, you're trying not to look at it too often. What should alarm you and send you to someone like us?
So this is the part we don't want to undersell. We really want to emphasize this because it's where the devices can genuinely actually save someone. A tracker is a smoke detector, or think of it as a smoke detector. A smoke detector going off doesn't tell you what's burning, but you'd be a fool to ignore it, right? Here's where the alarm matters.
So run the list. Let's do it.
Okay. Persistent daytime fatigue. You're sleeping 7 or 8 hours by the tracker, but you're exhausted every day. Loud snoring. Frequent awakenings. Your blood oxygen trend dipping overnight. A wildly irregular schedule. And a big gap between how much you think you slept and how the device or you actually feel.
So the top headline for us as surgeons who treat the airway would be sleep apnea, right?
Of course, this is the big one because untreated sleep apnea isn't a cosmetic issue. It's tied to high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke. The technology here has genuinely leapt forward. As of 2024, both the Apple Watch and the Samsung Galaxy Watch have actually FDA-Cleared features that screen for the breathing disturbances of sleep apnea, mostly by watching for those overnight oxygen dips.
But, and this is crucial, but
screening is not diagnosing. Obviously. Even Apple's own data, their watch correctly flags people who have apnea only about 2/3 of the time. So it misses some, which means two things. If your watch flags you, take it seriously. Go get a real sleep study. But if it doesn't flag you and you've got every symptom, loud snoring, gasping, exhausted all day, don't let a green check mark talk you out of getting checked. Don't let the check keep you from the check.
That includes people who do have snoring and sleep apnea and wear a CPAP. I know a lot of people check their CPAP machine and they think that that's a sleep study that they're getting every night, and they're not. So again, that green check is what most people looking at their AirSense, their ResMed AirSense, they think that they're getting a good night's sleep because they see that green check. So this applies to people who have already been diagnosed with sleep apnea or wearing a CPAP mask. So the device opens the door. I get it. It doesn't make the diagnosis, though, is what I'm hearing from you.
Right, exactly. No consumer ring or watch diagnoses a sleep disorder. A proper diagnosis comes from a home sleep apnea test or an in-lab study read by a physician. The tracker's job is to get you in the door to the doctor. The doctor's job is everything after that.
Main line?
Sleep trackers are screening tools, not diagnostic tools. They're fantastic at raising a hand and saying, hey, look at me. They're not qualified to tell you what it is.
So before we close, rapid fire. I read it. You give me the fast, honest answer. You ready?
I'm ready.
My ring says I got 40 minutes of deep sleep. Panic?
No, that's the least reliable number on the screen. Look at the month, not the night.
Okay, 2 trackers, 2 different numbers. Which one's right?
Probably neither one.
Exactly.
I mean, they're both estimating. Pick one and watch your trends. Remember, trends, not absolute values.
And also go with how you feel when that's happening.
Exactly.
Should I compare my heart rate variability to my buddies?
Never do that. HRV is deeply individual. Only race against your own baseline.
Best single thing my tracker can teach me.
What alcohol does to your sleep, really, as a physician. Watch that once and you'll never need convincing again.
My watch says I slept 8 hours, but I feel like balls.
Trust the garbage. You may have been lying still and awake. The watch can't tell. Or something else is going on, but get curious about it.
I feel great, but my score is red.
Overrule it. Feeling rested beats the number every time.
Is wearing it making me a worse sleeper?
Well, if you're checking it anxiously every morning, possibly, that's orthosomnia. We talked about it before.
Orthosomnia, our favorite word we learned.
Yeah, exactly. Try 2 weeks without it, and let's see what happens.
One free upgrade better than any feature on the device?
Consistent bedtime. Same time every night beats every gadget on the market.
Lightning verdict on sleep trackers overall.
Great coach, terrible boss.
Put that on a T-shirt.
We might.
Here's the bottom line. Sleep trackers can be genuinely useful. They help you notice patterns, clean up your habits, catch real problems early.
But sleep is not a performance sport. There's no trophy for a perfect score. And if chasing that score is making you anxious, it's working against the exact thing you're trying to improve.
The goal was never to wake up to a perfect number. The goal is to wake up rested, function well, live a healthier life. Health span, remember?
Exactly. Use the data to learn 1 or 2 real things about your body. Then let your body have a vote. Sometimes the healthiest, most advanced thing you can do
is take the tracker off and trust yourself. I'm Dr. Ben Cilento.
And I'm Dr. Lee Mandel.
This is Vital Discourse. We'll see you next time.